very quick little scores on the doors. How are people feeling? Second day properly back after the new year. Give us a maybe a score out of 10. 10 being firing on all cylinders, one being barely out of bed. How are people feeling? Oh, very good. I like that. Very nice. Number nine, like nine, seven. Okay. Still a five. All right. Not too bad. We're not getting any sort of ones and twos. 7.5. Nice. Good energy in the room. Brilliant. I mean, it is snowing. Well, kind of snowing where I am. So, um, no worries. Absolutely no worries. Camera on, camera off, whatever you want to do. That's fine. So I will keep an eye on the waiting room just in case some people drop in. But we'll get going because we've only got half an hour and I want to make sure that we cover everything that I've prepared for you. And thank you for showing up because I only arranged this yesterday, hadn't had really given it much thought before Christmas. So nice to see you all. What we're going to cover is this, what you're going to focus on maybe first when you're freelancing or next if you've already been freelancing. So first, if you're just newly out of employment, and how you're going to overcome challenges, keep showing up, how you're going to achieve more, stress less. And towards the end, I'm going to start talking a bit about kind of how the landscape this year is different to previous years. So a little bit about who I am. I'm Jane Curtis. I started my career as an events fundraiser. I've worked in the charity sector since the year 2000. For the last 8 years, I've run my own business. Today, I would say I'm sort of known for supporting charity freelancers attract better, perfect clients, work fewer hours, make more money. And I do this through a charity freelancing course, one-to-one private mentoring and live events and online events, but also live events. So this is what I now know about having my own business 8 years in. Ultimate flexibility, untapped earning potential. It's such a creative outlet for me. It's brought me huge amounts of joy and alignment, and I'm making more impact than I was when I was working in-house. So, for example, the flexibility, some of this might resonate with you, but being able to just stop work at 3, go and do the school pickup, being able to make those school engagements, not having to worry about what an employer what needs me to be at any particular time, being able to stop work at 3, 4 o'clock if I want, help with homework, all of those kind of things, really, really important. I think I've been able to surpass my salary from when I worked in house as well, which has been wonderful. And there is no sort of ceiling to that, really. You can sort of generate really whatever you want. The creative outlet as well has been such a big part, which I had no idea about when I first left charity employment, that I would just be able to create brand new trainings and courses and a membership and podcasts now and newsletters. So it's been such a wonderful creative outlet for me. I've really, really enjoyed that. And just working so closely with some clients as well has been really wonderful. And I have such a privileged position where I'm working with charities still as a freelancer. So I'm in the work, I'm actually in it. And I'm also supporting freelancers who are going through that as well, and how they are supporting other organizations. So I'm in a really wonderful, privileged position. And yeah, it just feels like things are kind of all coming together now, but it's been intentional. And I'm going to share with you kind of how I've created that. It feels very flowy, it feels aligned, but it has been intentional. Okay, so these are the steps that I took to achieve this and continue to take as well. It's really, really important. We don't ever arrive, do we? Like, this is ongoing. So I am still in the work, I'm doing the work. I work with coaches and mentors myself, and I'm on courses myself. I'm still learning very much. This is the big thing for me. So what truly matters, getting really, really clear on what truly matters. So whether you're already freelancing or you have just decided, or maybe you haven't yet decided, but you're thinking about moving out of 9 to 5, getting really clear on what truly matters. And the mistake that I see a lot of freelancers make and I made it too, was that you grip, hold very tightly of the practical stuff. So, do I need a website? Do I have to register with HMRC before I can call myself a freelancer? Do I need terms and conditions, bank account, privacy policy? What can I and can't, mustn't I do? The shoulds, the coulds, the musts, the practical stuff. And there's also a thousand, probably more, shiny squirrels as well. I've never met a freelancer who isn't full of ideas. Like, ideas are not in short supply. There's also the you things. So what is it that you specifically want from your freelance life? Because this is a big difference from when you work as an employee. You are now in the driving seat. So you've got an ultimate sort of say about how your business is going to operate, how it's going to look, how it's going to scale. But guess where new freelancers spend 80% of their time? On the practical. And actually that should really only take sort of 20%. And then because they're not concentrating on what it is that they want, and doing all of that kind of inner work, they wonder why things feel hard and slow, and why the energy is off, and they might find it hard to sell, and they're not getting the gigs that they want, and that comparing with others. I started off thinking that I was going to be a fundraising consultant. That was very much kind of where I'd seen other people go from my kind of experience. And so I thought that was the only way to do it. So I followed a very kind of rigid, almost template-like version of a consultant. And it felt really hard. I didn't really want to be talking about my work. I didn't want to be out there making new connections, because it wasn't really what I wanted to be doing. And it was actually working with a coach who sort of said, well, if that's not what you want to be doing, why are you doing it? You didn't go through all the risk of leaving employment to do work that you don't really want to be doing. So thinking, really getting clear on what it is that you actually want to do. And I know why people make these mistakes, because we kind of cling on to the tangible, right? So we cling on to the practical, and we think that is what needs to be overcome before we can get going. But actually, there's only one thing that really is standing in your way, and that is yourself. So the cost of not addressing this is that we often sleepwalk into freelancing without much of a plan. We waste time, take on clients that aren't aligned, take on work that isn't aligned. When I say aligned, I mean, aligned with your values and the way you want you to live your life. And it might be clients who are wasting your time, or work that just doesn't fill you with any kind of joy. Leave yourself exposed to clients cancelling, asking for refunds, negative feedback, ghosting you, undercharging. I see that often. That's very common. And eventually maybe giving up as well. But when you do address it, this is what can be true for you. So you can create that work of your dreams on your terms. You can earn more, stress less, really enjoy the journey, because it is such an opportunity to grow and to learn and discover new things about yourself. You can enjoy more time with your friends and family, and really feel excited each day by your work, which obviously is the dream. So the second step is about continually working on your self-belief and that confidence required. Now, this is not a once and done thing. This is arguably the biggest step, and it takes the longest time. I am still 8 years on, very much in this work, on this step. Occasionally I fall off this step, and then I remember why it's so important and step back on again. It's really important to remind yourself that no one is really going to care about you succeeding as a freelancer or a founder. No one really cares. So if you don't believe it's possible, you're right. And if you're not going to back yourself, why would anyone else? So you really need to think about what steps to take to position yourself as an expert who others are going to want to work with, whether that's individuals or organizations. You're going to need the confidence to sell yourself and to not feel yucky about that. Confidence to promote what you're doing unashamedly, and to build new services and client pipelines as you work with existing contracts. So really important is to start thinking about that and believe it can be done before you have the proof to say it can be. We cling on to, we want certainty, right? And a lot of the concerns and the worries that I see from people moving out of out of any employment, 9 to 5, is that in uncertainty. That's what really holds them back, because we want the certainty, we want to see the proof, we want the results, but you can't get the proof or the results if you don't first believe it's possible. And I could tell you exactly what I did. I could tell you step by step what journey I took. But unless you believe that it's possible for you and continue to do that work inside, that inner work, it won't stick. And if you focus on it not working and being really difficult, that will be your reality. Does that make sense? So the cost of not addressing this, the increased imposter syndrome, the fear of being visible online, not thinking you're expert enough, taking rejection personally, doubting yourself, not earning enough, just scraping by, assuming you're not cut out for freelancing, and then maybe settling in a role and just being unhappy. So none of us want this. Let's try and avoid that. What happens when you do address it? You can start showing up more confidently, really lean into the energy of that inevitability. It's inevitable. And you can have that healthy detachment around your work as well. It feels really, really different when you're freelance. And yeah, if you want to lean into that, that can really be your reality too. You can really detach yourself. You can enjoy your life in a way that perhaps is harder to do when you're working as an employee. Charge appropriately, know that you're worthy, and enjoy that extraordinary life, which sounds great. So building your business for 2026, building your business for the long haul. Okay, so this is step 3, how to achieve more and stress less over time, because this isn't about freelancing for 1 month or even a year. Like, this could be a permanent move. I know it is for me. I'm not going to be doing anything else. This is what I do now. How do you sustain that? Because it's all very well getting your first gig or first couple of clients, but how do you line up more work so that you're in that comfortable pattern of never being too frantic or too quiet? Now, full transparency, I am still navigating that. Like, I still haven't totally figured that out, but being aware that that is something that I need to be cautious of is really important, because the cost of not addressing it is that you're going to get that increased stress due to gaps in between work. It's quite normal, I would say, to have quieter months and busier months, that peaks and troughs in income that can leave you feeling a bit unsure about money from one month to the next. You might get nasty surprises with expenditure, with invoices that you weren't expecting. Thinking that like what worked 2 to 3 years ago is going to work in 2026, and not able to enjoy those quiet times because you're feeling panicked about finding that next gig. But when you do address it, you're going to start reaping these benefits. So that clear ongoing pipeline of clients, you can predict better what work and income you'll secure. You'll start viewing yourself as kind of sowing seeds. Like, this is really, really key in my work, is that feeling that everything I'm doing is sowing seeds. And some of those seeds will thrive and flourish and grow, and some of them may not, but I'm going to sow those seeds anyway, like regardless, because if I don't sow any of them, I'm never going to get that growth. Increased freedom, fun as you create those services that you want to deliver to the clients that you really want to work with. And you're going to get that increased engagement and visibility from continually showing up. Okay, does that all make sense? I know I've rattled through that a little bit, but maybe a thumbs up or a number 1 or something in the chat, just so that I know that that is understood. I'm just going to take some water. Okay, what's different in 2026? AI has got to be at the top. AI is blowing up industries all across the world, and it's not no industry, is immune from this. So Google and Amazon have announced mass redundancies and restructures. I think 14,000 in Amazon, 20,000 from Google, something I saw. Huge numbers of redundancies because of AI, because of automation. So even though we're in a different industry, the charity sector definitely isn't immune. And these are hard facts. AI is making things more automated and staff are being replaced. Coupled with more organisations requiring staff to be in the office rather than working remotely, we're seeing a big shift there. It's no surprise that more and more people are wanting to take control of their own future. So whereas once working in as an employee was the safe and secure option, we're not seeing that anymore. This is all being thrown into flux, and yeah, traditional ideas about working for a company, for an organization, and that being secure and a job for life or whatever, it's just not the case anymore. So this is going to have a huge knock-on effect to how all organizations have to operate, right? Charities, I'm talking specifically about charities because that is what we're doing here, but it's going to be all industries are going to be looking to more freelancers, contractors, and consultants to fill those immediate gaps on a flexible basis rather than having full-time staff, I believe. Unsettling economic landscape leads to more discernment with buying. So individuals and organizations are being more discerning. This leads into longer decision making. So this has always been quite a long charity world. You will all be aware. Often decisions can take some time, but I believe that this is going to even elongate even more. And I'm certainly seeing it with individuals that I work with. People are being more discerning. It's not that they're not buying. It's not that they're not investing. It's not that they're not hiring freelancers, but they're maybe being more discerning because of all of the things we've just talked about. So it's going to be really imperative for you to be really specific about what it is that you're offering. And the more specific, the more tangible you can be. And let's just remind ourselves that things that organizations and people will always invest in, it is money. So raising more money, saving time, health, and better relationships are things that people will always spend money on. The more clients you're going to be able to help. So you need to get really, really specific and tangible about how you can be of value to an organization. In-person connection and deeper relationships. Again, this goes back to that whole kind of sowing seeds idea. Things are taking longer. People want to know you. AI, as well as automating a lot of stuff, is bringing more mistrust, right? So people are like wanting that connection. They want to know the face behind the words. And I'm seeing that people want more. I'm going to be showing up more because of that. I want to be more visible in this way. And, I think I would recommend other people do that too, whether that's through in-person events or online events like this, where you're connecting with people rather than it being all kind of behind a keyboard, So really thinking about that when you're looking at what you're working on this year. Deeper relationships, building those. Long haul versus the quick wins. We really need to think about this being for the long haul. There's a different shift in energy when you think that you're doing this for several years as opposed to it just being a stopgap, Like if you're thinking about this as a stopgap, then there's going to be quick wins, lower hanging fruit that might be more appropriate for you. If you're in this for the long haul, you really need to start thinking about just trying things which may or may not work, because it's a time for experimentation. Like nobody really fully knows how AI is going to change things like in the long term. But this is an opportunity for us, I believe, that we can really get kind of creative and have some fun and be a bit more experimental. And some of that's not going to work, and that's okay. Like being comfortable with that. And we're not going to, not quitting. You fail, but you don't quit. Be okay with where you're at right now. If you're right at the very, very beginning of your freelance journey, that's where you're at. That's absolutely fine. Own that position. You can still help people, absolutely help people, because it's really not about the numbers. It's about the quality of that connection. So if you keep showing up, you keep adding value to people, you get really, really clear on how you're going to help other people, then you will get clients. I'm certain of it. People need to understand how you can help them. So be really okay with where you're at. and be okay with being visible, because in order to attract clients, then they have to know you are there. So that's really, really key as well. And that doesn't have to be like this. You don't have to do things like this. You could do newsletters, you could write a blog, you could start a regular email, you could I don't know, do mini events, you could arrange a coffee morning, you could do it in a way that works for you. Again, going back to that very first step, really getting clear on what it is that you want to create and what you're going to be different to me. So thinking about that. Social media can be super helpful, but don't get sidetracked. Again, the shiny squirrel thing. I would say 1 or 2 platforms at most. And think about creating content and value that will help the charities, the organizations, the individuals go from where they are now to where they want to get to. What have I not covered? Yeah, more people entering freelance. Again, this could be seen as a kind of an opportunity. It could also be seen as a risk. But again, doing all of these things is going to help give you the edge. What might have worked previously, I don't think is going to continue to be as effective. So actually thinking in these new ways about how you're going to make those connections, how you're going to keep up with those relationships is going to be really imperative. And we need to be feeling resilient. We need to be feeling like we've got permission to sell, and that our money mindset is good and strong, and we're comfortable with being visible. We're comfortable and confident with owning the space that we're in. Because there will be, like I said, there's going to be failures. You're going to fall off the horse sometimes, but it's all about dusting yourself off and getting yourself back on again. You fall down, you go again. And to remind yourself that you've experienced such life lessons, like all of us will have experienced heartbreak and grief and loss and redundancy and trauma. Like some of those lessons will have been learned. So using those to really enable you to move forward, rather than seeing that as a reason why not to, seeing that as a reason why you're resilient. You're resilient, you can do this, you absolutely can cope and manage. Your heart can handle it. So not having to avoid discomfort, you can cope. Right, so I'm just going to do a little quick recap then. So step 1, clarity on what you want, really. You're going to write down what it is that you love, what you don't love, what you do if you had to, what you definitely wouldn't do. Get really, really clear on what it is, how you want to help people, and what's going to most move the needle for you. Step 2, continually working on your self-belief and confidence. I'm going to send you all a free wins sheet for showing up today. That'll be a whole for the whole of this year. But keeping a record of your achievements, really important to celebrate, because it actually actively rewires your neural pathways from a I don't know how to do this, I can't do it, to a I'm doing it, I'm smashing it. So that's really, really important. And also just being really clear on kind of noticing when you feel that contraction around the things that you have to do. So is that around selling? Is that around talking about your offer? Is that around going live, being visible? Where is it that you feel that contraction? If you feel limited and restricted, your potential clients will feel that too. So this isn't just about mind work, it's about body, energy, alongside the strategy. And step 3, building your business consistently and for the long haul. So constantly thinking about sowing seeds, how you're doing that, what that looks like for you, how you're going to start that now. Because in a year's time, you'll look back, you'll be really happy that you did start. You have to work on your business as much as in your business. So carving out some set time to do that will pay off massively.